On this Oaks Day, you know, the Kentucky Derby is rooted in tradition. From the race to the fashion, even the mint julep has a story behind it.
And we've been covering this race at WHAS 11 for more than 70 years. So I knew if we took a look back in our video archives, we'd be able to find some of that history. The WHAS 11 Vault takes us back.
Those twin spires are a symbol of something magical that happens each spring here in Louisville.
But way before the symbolic spires took form, the idea to host horse races had to start somewhere. Our records say it was 1872, and Louisville socialite Colonel Meriwether Lewis Clark went to England at the request of some Kentucky horse breeders. They wanted him to study the country's racing systems and bring it back to the Commonwealth.
And they're away.
When he returned to Louisville, Colonel Clark founded the Louisville Jockey Club and Driving Park Association. It needed a home, so he bought land south of Louisville. The land had belonged to his cousins, John and Henry Churchill. By 1875, the first clubhouse was built, and the spring meet was held. The featured second race was modeled after the Epsom Derby of England. And from that moment on, the Kentucky Derby was off and running. It was an instant success and kicked off the event that has settled on the first Saturday in May. WHAS-TV was there for the first nationally televised Kentucky Derby in 1952. Black and white footage capturing the thoroughbreds as they raced towards the finish line.
He's driving now, but Hillgale is going to make it. Here comes the finish. Hillgale by 2.
The Kentucky Derby has always been as much a social happening as a sporting event, and fashion has always been at the heart of it. The Garden at Churchill Downs, known as the place to spot the best and worst dressed of the season. Phyllis Knight became an expert after decades of covering race day on WHAS-TV and radio.
Those were the days when in the gardens at Churchill Downs, women really dressed up. I remember years when I actually wore white gloves all the time I was broadcasting in the garden because it was simply the thing to do. But you know, the Derby is like anything else. It reflected the ridiculous, the people who made the special hats that were 3 feet wide with horses racing around, and they'd make special dresses and so on. Then the really well-dressed people who came for comfort, but they were nice. And then the kooks. The garden at Churchill Downs on Derby Day, I think, did reflect just what everybody in the world was doing at that time.
Dressed to the nines, ticket holders would travel on planes and trains specially designed for Derby travel. And when they arrived in Louisville, they were hungry. Kentucky country ham was always served up, as was our state's favorite beverage, bourbon. The mint julep dates back to war times, when doctors would prescribe it as medication, and then it became a Southern staple. So when did it become the drink of the Derby? Well, when the mint julep and bourbon were combined, and a celebrity visitor deemed it a winning combination.
Helen Majesta was a Polish actress, and she visited Kentucky in the 1880s. And the legend is that Colonel Clark fixed some mint juleps in a silver bowl, and he handed the bowl to Mrs. Majesta, and she started sipping the drink, and he looked at her thinking that she was going to, in turn, give it to everyone else, and everyone was going to have a little sip, and she just kept the bowl, and she said, "Would you fix another one for my husband?"
After that, the julep became a central part of the Derby celebration year after year, and it was officially adopted in 1939 as the Kentucky Derby's drink, a toast to Kentucky's greatest tradition, rooted in competition and camaraderie.